Our guest for today is Chirag Mandot. From being a data science intern in a 4-member company to becoming a director in 3 years with 108-member team, he has proved his leadership skills. In this episode, we cover his undergrad to master's journey, his professional growth, and his big move to India to manage a company in a very different space. Listen to this episode to learn from his journey, and I bet it's an insightful one. We are 3 friends who met in college and now are working in diverse fields across the globe. Curious to know about what our friends are up to. So here we are, connecting, talking, and learning from our friends. In this podcast, we are sharing extraordinary insights from our not so ordinary friends, working in various industries and sharing their stories and their journey so far. These are your hosts, Hiloni Punatar,
Adit Kothari,
and Tapan Desai.
And this is What the Hat. Subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss on any episodes.
I've had the pleasure of working with Chirag for the first 2 years of my engineering. And, I was reading this leadership book and they asked to do this exercise where list out the people that you know who are great leaders. When I was listing out, I was thinking through. And number one was Mandot, and the second is the second person is far from what leadership qualities that Mandot has. So, it was absolutely amazing working with you in college also.
That's flattering. Thank you so much.
Wow. I think for me also the first interaction was in the first year, I think when you were leading that whole departmental wards for IT, and we had this whole flex creation. And I think since then, one thing that you had was you were very encouraging to new ideas and very open to accepting them and getting them to roll out as soon as possible. And that's kind of what was my first impression of you. Definitely the leadership quality, but also a lot of motivation from your end and the belief in the other person, which makes it easier for the person who actually has to execute it.
Right. I remember the departmental wars, and I know that IT didn't win that award in a long time, or maybe never. And I had decided कि करना है बस कुछ भी हो जाए. And then I got you guys like Hiloni and Atit, and I mean you guys had Atit, you were the co-captain, right? You and Hiloni. Right. I mean, it was crazy. I still I've done so many things in life, but that is if I had to list top 3, I list it right below Pulse. I list the IT departmental wars. That was one hell of a journey.
Tell us, why did you decide engineering and why DJ?
So this engineering from the start, in my family, not before me, there was only one person who was did engineering before me, and actually did masters after that. And he's my cousin. He's already in US, and I was in 6th grade, and I was looking up to him. So somehow it was implicit that okay, chalo engineering karna hai. And so I was in Rajasthan before moving to Mumbai. I did my schooling in Rajasthan. Then I actually did my high school from Pune, and then I came to Mumbai for engineering. And it was obvious because of my brother कि engineering करना है. And then somehow my aptitude was towards that. I liked tinkering with things. I liked playing with those electronic games and everything. So it was somehow obvious. And then I went to Pune, attempted for IIT, didn't prepare well, so obviously didn't get it. Then I didn't prepare well for CET as well. So I don't think a lot of people know, but I had a drop before joining DJ. So I had an average CET score, but I couldn't get admission because I wasn't domiciled in Maharashtra. So you need a domicile certificate. You have to be in Maharashtra for 10 years to be able to get into any college in Maharashtra. So with my CET score, I would basically get my preference after the last CET score was applied. So in DJ, if the last application was 87 out of 200, my score, if it's 150, it will count after the 87. So that was disappointing. So I had to basically wait the whole year, and then I had to obviously jugaadify and get my domicile certificate somehow, and then apply again next year.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. You need to have a domicile certificate. and these had these sort of regulations.
Oh yeah, but that was a good year. Like the whole year, I did a lot of things during that year. Like in fact, I was moving away from engineering and going into like commerce side, exploring that as well because of peer pressure. And taking a drop is in our society, it's not taken that well. So, but I learned a lot. Like because I didn't have domicile, I had to go through route of donation and everything. So I was like taking lakhs of rupees in my crotch and going to colleges and offering them in their offices and all of that. Everybody has a pehchan, and I was like trying to get through it, but it didn't work out. And I'm glad it didn't work out because eventually I got into DJ after that. Like I would have gone to like Thakur or maybe Parshanath or some other college, but somehow I waited, gave my CET again, and then got into DJ, and then the best phase of my life began from there.
That's awesome. So, tell us your journey through Pulse and any lessons that you learned along that festival, creating all the festival, any lessons that you're still using?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that the IT war, the Pulse, I think those are the two big things which I did in my engineering, and obviously made a lot of great friends. So those are the three things which are my big takeaways. Not the technical stuff, not the algorithms I read, not the coding which I learned, which I didn't learn a lot in my engineering. But overall, that I did a lot of robotics project. Like starting as soon as I started day one, there were like 15 people selling me robotics workshop, hacking workshop. You know about that, right? As soon as you enter the college, they had this IEEE and all these CSI. All these people were chipping like take this, take that, and gladly I fell for one of those, the robotics workshop for IEEE. I did that workshop. It was like around 2,000 rupees. One of the best decision I did. Like I had friends who were like, "Mat le yaar, seekh lena idhar udhar," and somehow I took it. That's where I found like all the other friends who did take that workshop, and from there it was like I learned it. Then I participated in all these competitions, robotics competitions, like line followers and Robo wars and everything. And then eventually I participated in IIT, and we won a lot of prizes. And actually, that was the source of pocket money for rest of the engineering.
So you guys were actually winning and earning money from that.
Yep. So yeah, a lot of so you participate in those colleges. First prize you'll get cash prize. Second and third you'll get goodies and all those things. So we were we won a lot in Robo wars. Like we had this robot called Pehlwan, we used to call it, and we used to go to all these colleges. Like we went to Thakur once, and we literally like broke that robot apart. Like I mean the person. So we were. There was like quarterfinals, then semifinals, and then finals. So we did quarterfinals. We broke that robot completely, and then semifinal guys said like we don't want to fight. You can go directly to finals, and then we went into finals and then won from there. So like you usually get like 3,000, 4,000 rupees, and we used to participate in a lot of competitions. So that helped us a lot.
That's amazing. So like before we ask something else, like I wanted to know, were you always interested in IT, or that was a choice you made based on your score?
In IT, that was score, only based on score. Okay. Like I would have taken EXTC. After that, I would have taken computer science. After that, I would have taken IT. But now, like going back, I think I made the right. Computer science or IT was the place I wanted to go. Yeah, and it's honestly it's easy compared to it's easy with high reward. I think computer science and IT overall, they're relatively easy with relatively higher reward.
Yeah, definitely. We had that. What do you call that book? I forgot. Question Bank? No. Fuck, I forgot the name.
Easy Solution.
Easy Solution, yeah. So people in EXTC and electronics used to read entire textbooks, and people in IT were like, we've done Easy Solution. Usme bhi ek do paper chhod diya and we are all good, and everyone used to score good marks. That was amazing.
Oh yeah, I have a very funny incident about that. So I went to this bookstore, I think 3 days before one of the exams. I don't remember which one. And I told him, give me that book. And that book was that original American author book, which is Pura Bada Wala. And he's like, exam 2 din mein. I'm like, yeah. So he took out that Easy Solution, ye lo, wo rehne do. I'm like, okay. So I basically took that easy solution. Like, nahi hoga, 2 दिन में नहीं पढ़ पाऊंगी बेटा. That was funny.
Wow. I had completely forgotten about easy solution.
How
I
can
think
you?
they were our saviors at that point of time. I think उसके
Exactly,
बिना
yeah.
उतनी सारी books पढ़ना with the amount of things we were doing in the extracurricular would have been very difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, for in engineering, like it's the things which you do. Like it gives you that good ecosystem. You have friends. There's a lot of stuff going on. So I would say, like, get into those competitions and try those. Get into these festivals. Get into whether it's paper presentation or writing papers or whatever. Apart from academics, get into all these things because we don't have a curriculum where you actually get a lot of practical hands-on. So this is the only way to actually get into any of that.
So, I mean, coming back to you taking up a lot of responsibilities, being from like holding robotic workshops to the whole departmental wars to like Pulse, what has been like your major challenges that you faced at that point of time, and like what was your process to like break them down and navigate through them?
So biggest challenge was like managing people, right? You are working with so many different people. They have different ideas. They have different personalities. So making sure, especially if you are higher up in the position, it's very important that you keep everyone happy and they are giving their best performance. So that was initially challenging, but overall the team was supportive. So I could learn during that time only. But I was usually very adamant with my idea, like, okay, ye karna hai, matlab karna hi hai. So somehow, and people like that, so they, went along with it. But overall, it's all about managing, 15 people. They all have their own lives going on. How do you make sure that you get the best out of them? Was extremely challenging, but by the end of it, I think I learned a lot in that process.
And like, were you always like, even in school, were you always like taking up leadership roles, or it is something that you picked up during DJ just by participating?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So like till 11th, 12th, I think I was very underconfident. Like I was never really outgoing and all of that. And if I would have gotten engineering right after, I would have been that guy. But I think the drop actually, slapped me. It's like, okay, dude, you gotta do something. And then when I like the day when I walked into DJ Sanghvi, I'm like, I have to do something. So from that point on, I think I got my confidence in DJ. Like early on, I was sure like I have to do something, and I was always like, so the Pulse chairman thing, right? So I was sitting. It's what's that? The annual day. So annual day, the Pulse chairperson actually gives a speech, right? So I was sitting with my friends in the beach. No, what was that hall? Wait, where do we have our annual festival?
I forgot the name as well. Bhagu Banana.
Bhaidas Hall.
Bhaidas Hall,
Bhaidas,
yeah. It's like huge hall, right? It's like half full. We're sitting all the way to the back, and I'm like, dude, वहाँ पे खड़े रह के speech देना है मेरे को कुछ भी हो जाए ऐसा. So like I decided कि करना ही है, and that's why all the effort into winning the departmental was, because I know that was a gateway into, you have to show your seniors that, okay, this person has something, and basically at the end, I don't think I left them a choice कि कोई और है ऐसा. So yeah, I got my confidence in DJ, and DJ, that's one thing which I don't think a lot of other colleges have, like that ecosystem, those people you're surrounded with. I think that's one of the best thing about DJ. Like the friends I've made, it's like one of the best thing that has happened in my life.
So Mandot, I was going to ask, like, after getting through all the festivals after your third year, like in your fourth year, did you decide on sitting on placements? How did you decide on going to the US? What was your thought process?
So US, everybody was going around me was going to the US, right? So I did basic pros and cons. Like, chalo, agar India mein main ruka, to I'll have to take a job. I am not a good coder, so I'm not getting a big company. I'm getting a medium company, most likely TCS or Infosys or Capgemini. And I think I got Capgemini. I didn't get TCS, which was surprising and humiliating. But yeah, I didn't get the interview there because they took 250 people that day, and I didn't get it. Anyway, so the job situation, I knew that there wasn't a lot into it. Like if you want to get a position in a top tech startup, then you have to be like really good. And I spend most of my time managing. and not in the technical stuff. So I knew that I'm not going to get a good job, technical job. And the managerial job, I just wasn't ready. Like, I think I could have went for it if I had a good idea, but I wasn't ready to start something of my own right then. So then I thought, okay, this is a good gateway, like, learning more, going to a new country. I mean, you'll get a lot of experience. So I did all those pros and cons, and I thought, let's go to the US, see what happens. Eventually, I was sure, like, the reason I did engineering was never to be the engineering guy or really technical guy. I always wanted to be a leader and do something like have my own business or lead a business. So that has always been there in the background. So the reason I wanted to do engineering, reason I wanted to do masters was so that I know everything about technical stuff so that nobody can bullshit me. So that was the whole thing. Like, I don't want anybody, when I'm running a company, is like, hey, I cannot make this deadline, or hey, this is too difficult. I'm like, dude, I know how difficult it is. I've done it. So that was the whole reason I went into the technical side.
So how did you decide on like Stony Brook, the university? What was your process?
I looked at the programs and I applied to 10 colleges. I got into two, and Stony Brook was one of them. So I took Stony Brook. I wasn't a big fan of Stony Brook early on. Like, there were other colleges high up in my list, but I actually went for a lot of really ambitious ones. So I only got two. But then when I went to Stony Brook, like, if you're really into operating systems, Stony Brook is like one of the best colleges. And also, I wanted to go for a state university. I didn't want to go for Ivy League or USC, where you're gonna be spending a lot. So I didn't want that. I wanted something cheaper. So Stony Brook was right there in the middle. Like, they had a really good computer science program, and they were known for operating system. Like, I thought, okay, I mean, it could be fun, but in the end, I realized that that's something which I know for sure I never want to do it in my life. So yeah, but the data science also, like, it was upcoming over there. So a lot of good teachers were there once I joined. So it was like, okay, decision going into it, but then at the end, it came out pretty well for me.
How was the transition like? Did you know anyone while going to Stony Brook?
So yeah, so that was one thing. I didn't have any friends before going to Stony Brook, and I actually wanted it that way because DJ, you always knew everybody around you, and everything was like really Mumbai-ish, right? There's a thing called Mumbai-ish, like people are extremely helpful. Like, Mumbai people are extremely helpful. You just know each other. You can talk about common things. And I thought, let's get out of that comfort zone. I wanted to go out of that comfort zone. Like, the other college I had, there were a few friends going over there. I could have gone there easily. There wasn't a lot of difference between the two. But I thought, let's go there. Let's make new friends. Let's meet people from all the different states, and let's get that new experience. It was a little bit challenging because you're used to people helping you. Maybe not Mumbai overall, but in DJ you're so used to people helping you and supporting you, from everywhere, right? That's not the case everywhere in the country. So like when you go there, it wasn't like apparently that, okay, yeah, if I need something, somebody's going to help me. It wasn't the case. So I had to like ask for it, understand different new type of people. My roommate was, he was doing PhD in computer science, and he was like extremely weird. But then now we are really good friends. Like he was weird in the sense like, Sheldon in Big Bang Theory, he was like that.
Okay.
He was so like him. And then you have to like, Big Bang Theory, first time when you're watching it, you don't really get it. I didn't get it. I didn't understand Sheldon as much. But then when you watch it again, you're in love with that guy because you understand, okay, this is how that guy is. So this was my roommate. Like he was from Karnataka, PhD guy. He's writing algorithms day in, day out. He is eating like anything. He's just putting stuff together, and things are in the kitchen open for like 2 days. He's still eating those things. It doesn't matter for him. He's like doing that computer science thing. But we would interact a lot, and he would just ask questions. Like he continuously, like he just bombards you with questions. Like, okay, why this? Why that? Okay, why? Like his reasoning was so much, and he taught me a lot about how to have a discussion and not an argument. How to present your thoughts carefully. So he helped me a lot in communication overall, and I helped him get into the fun side of life. Like we had a call 2 weeks ago. It's like he was thanking me for showing the better side of the world. Like, you know, we had few parties, and he was being very thankful for that. So it was overall, it was fun. But the technical side, like the studying part, I actually had to do it. So that I wasn't prepared for that. Like it's actually extremely difficult. Like you going into it, I'm like, ठीक है, निकाल दिए 4 साल तो ये भी कोई बड़ी बात नहीं होगी. But no, man, you had to study, you had to do your homeworks. Like it was extremely difficult. And I didn't like all the subjects. Like operating system was something which I didn't like at all. Like that's something which I never want to do in my life, and I'm 100% sure about that. So like I used to exchange assignments with somebody having like data mining class, and we used to do exchange assignments sometimes. But overall, I didn't like the studying part so much. But that was the only gateway into the US. So it was a good experience. I made a lot of good friends and actually studied a lot in the technical aspect.
How different was, like, if you had to compare Mumbai University education that you got versus the way you kind of studied? Obviously, like, even if you didn't like the subject, I believe there was other way of learning for you in Stony Brook. Like, you have like any comparison as to how different is it to learn in the US?
So one thing was the people around you were different. Like they wanted to study, and every single one of them was there to study, and they were only there to study. They were not there to have fun or joke around. They wanted to study. So the competition was really high, and a lot of people had a good experience. So like people around you, overall the talent pool was, I was like probably in like bottom 10% of the talent pool, which I was not used to. Like even in DJ, if I didn't have a lot of technical knowledge, I was never in like bottom 10%. I knew my stuff. So that was a surprising factor. So one point is the talent pool around you technically is going to be completely different. The second is obviously the teaching, they go really deep. Like when they're teaching in class, it's actually not that difficult. It's like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. But when they give you homework, and I mean, there is nothing out there. Like you cannot just Google and submit your assignment. And even if you Google, you'll probably be caught in plagiarism and you'll be fined, or I mean, you'll miss a semester. So like it's extremely strict over there. So you actually have to study, do your assignments. So it takes the work, which is not the case in India. And obviously, the teachers who are teaching, they are like extremely qualified. Like they've done PhDs or maybe 2 PhDs. They've worked on researches. They're working on something unique. They actually don't even want to teach you. They just want to focus on their research. Like the teaching is all right. The research is something which they are interested in. So overall, the quality is completely different. And in India also, I think it would be different in some of the colleges. I didn't find that in DJ. Like, you know, the technical, they don't go that much in details. It's not that difficult. Maybe in the IITs and NITs, it's different.
Did you also do continue your cultural committee stuff while at Stony Brook?
No, I gave that up over there. I'm like, okay, I'm here. The people around me, nobody wanted that. So I'm like, I didn't want to be that guy. I'm like, okay, I'm going to study now. Actually, after DJ, I decided, okay, because I did a lot of that. I'm like, maybe I missed out on the technical stuff. So let me just focus on that. Obviously, there were opportunities coming around me. I'm like, should I do it? Maybe I should do it. And then I'm like, no. It was very tempting, but I didn't do any of that in master. And honestly, there was no time. And especially Stony Brook, it's relatively difficult because you have to take like 4 courses in first 2 semesters because of New York rules. So it's extremely hectic in the first 2 semesters. So you cannot do much. And the 3rd semester is light, but anyway, it's too late. 3rd semester, you're just chilling. And we actually finish in 3 semesters. Very few people actually go for the 4th one.
And I'm assuming like Stony Brook is in a small town, right? So coming from Mumbai, how was that? Like, did you miss Mumbai or the nightlife or any of those elements?
Actually, I only stayed in Mumbai for 5 years, right, before going to US. So I stayed in that small place in Rajasthan, my hometown. So then I went to Pune. So I stayed there for 2 years. So Mumbai I stayed for 5 years. So I'm honestly, you cannot call that, typical Mumbaikar. So I was like that emotions people have about Mumbai. I don't have all of it. Like I have part emotion. So that wasn't a big transition for me. I see people around me. Some of them were from Mumbai and they're like, dude, they missed this. Or I mean, I missed Vada Pav and Sev-Puri and all of that. But other than that, it wasn't a big transition. I actually liked it.
Right. So you don't resonate with Mumbai is a city, Bombay is a feeling.
So that not completely, little bit. My wife likes that. Like she's that kind of person because she's been in Mumbai from birth. So maybe that's why.
So that's so Mandot, like your master's was in computer science, right? So like how did you choose on data science in particular? Like was it your major or something like that, or that was something you were interested in?
So when you're doing masters, you have like these buckets. At least in Stony Brook, you have these 3 buckets which you have to take at least one of the courses in those buckets, and after that you can choose whatever you want. So before going for masters, I didn't know much about data science. I didn't know about machine learning. Like I read articles. We had AI in IT, but it was like completely different from what is actually out there. Like the concepts are the same, but the practical stuff is completely different. So when I looked at the courses, I really liked going into the data. I thought I belonged there. It's fun to look at the data. There's always so much to explore. There's so much creativity. It's like, you're working on a painting or you're composing something or editing a movie. Like you can do so many things with that data. So I liked that a lot. Then that's why I decided I took data mining in my first semester, and I thought, okay, let's do this. Then I took data mining. There was a data science course. There was a machine learning course. There was data processing course. So I took all of those courses, and then I was also taking Coursera courses. And that's when I decided, okay, this is it. I want to get into data science for sure.
Okay, that's interesting. And then, were you doing any internships while you were studying there in data science?
So I had a job which was just to get myself through. I did a website job, but that wasn't related. But that was while on campus. During internship, so that's where I got into Aunalytics, the startup I'm working for right now also. They had an opening. There were only 5-6 people back then, and I was applying for jobs, and I got introduced via my cousin I was talking about. He introduced me to the founder of the company, and they were hiring at the time. I think they were a year and a half old that time. They're like, "Are you interested?" I asked them, I'll interview for the position, and I'm interested in data science, not the software engineering part. They're like, okay, why don't you come for the interview? The interview was pretty straightforward. They looked at my resume, some of the coursework I did. Like, okay, yeah, let's try him on for internship. I made sure that I gave my best. The day one, I was the last to leave the office, and the guy who was leaving before me was like, okay, don't burn yourself out on day one. I'm like, no, it's fine. And I made sure that, I'm leaving my mark during the internship. So I was pretty sure, before leaving, I had a full-time job offer. So when I joined, we were I think 6 or 7 people during my internship. When I came back after 4 months, we were around 12 people. So it was pretty small. And now the company has around 180 people.
Wow, that's a massive success story for the company. I mean, you would have transitioned from being an intern to, I believe, you were at a very high position by the time you planned to move to India, right?
Right. Yeah. So 3 years I worked as a data scientist. We were growing, so you basically do a lot of things which in a normal company you wouldn't. Whether it's hiring, onboarding people, talking to clients, talking to the software team. So you do all of that. You're wearing multiple hats. So you get a lot of experience. You're talking to the CEO. Later in my years, I was reporting to him directly. So there was a lot of learning from him. And there was a position okay, we are growing, so we need a director of data science. And I'm like, okay, let me ask for it. And they're like, yeah, go for it. So that's the kind of thing which can happen. You're not going through that hierarchy. You're not you have to put in 2 years here, 2 years here. In any other big company, the director position is going to take time. Doesn't matter how skilled you are. it's going to take at least 6-7 years to get to that position, if not more. I think I worked for 2.5, 3 years, and I was promoted to that position. Then I led the team for that, and I'm actually still in that position. I'm not working full time. I'm working part time, but I'm in that position.
You just asked for like, okay, I see there is a data. You're looking for a director of data analytics, and I think I'm qualified. Is that how the conversation?
So that's exactly. So during this conversation, I remembered. You remember Harsh Swaminarayan? I think we do. Like we all work together, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Harsh Swaminarayan. So during DJ, we were doing this IC engine project, and the cost was around 30,000 rupees, which is a big amount. Like we had to get order the engine from the US to actually build it to participate in IIT festival. So I'm like, should we ask for the money? And but 30,000 was a big amount, so we weren't sure if DJ is going to sponsor us. So I was talking to Swami. He's like, okay, just write a proposal and ask for it. And it's actually a very simple thing. It's like just ask for it. The max they'll say is no, right? So I did that, and we got the money, like everything we asked for. We asked for 35,000, and there was some deal and some clauses which we had to follow, like the robot will stay in DJ, and I think it did at the end. But and that's the thought which came into my mind, and okay, let me ask for it, and I got it. So just ask for it, whatever you want.
That's amazing. Did you feel like did you have any sort of imposter syndrome or any of that?
So my CEO had a lot of confidence in me. That's one. So that was very reassuring. The second thing was, I think I was qualified for director more than the data science position, because like that involves like, you're 50%, you're doing the management, and then the rest you're spending technical stuff. As a data scientist, you're doing 100% data science, right? There was a need during that time, and I was pretty confident that I should be able to do it. And everyone was really supportive of that move at the company.
Interesting. And like, how many people do you manage right now as director of data science?
So my team right now, last year it was big. Like that's the thing which happens in startup, right? There was a point where I was like managing 18 people, because like we just grew and grew and grew, and we didn't have people to manage those people or to come up with those hierarchy. But now with the restructuring and everything, there are like 7 data scientists I'm managing.
And like, what does Aunalytics, right? Aunalytics do? Like,
Aunalytics.
Yeah, what do they do?
So it's a software and data science platform. So we are building a data science platform which all the companies can use. So you must have seen like AWS. It contains a lot of things, but AWS is a good example, or Microsoft, the machine learning package in Microsoft, or Alteryx, or Spark. All these things, like all these are different platforms to do data science, right? We are building our own platform. That's one part of Aunalytics. The second part is we also consult with customers. So we have a lot of clients from like big 500 companies, as well as small banking clients. What we do is we take their data, we consult with them, we solve their problem using data science, and improve their business. So there are two sides of that. Now with the company has grown now, so we also do like managed IT, so like providing cloud platforms for all the companies, manage their IT infrastructure, security, and all of that. So like our goal is to provide that end-to-end service. Like you come in, you have a place where you can store your data. You have a place where the security and all these protocols are in place. You have a cloud where you can store whatever you want. Then you have a platform where you can munge your data and create a good data set out of it, which you can use for analytics. Then you have an analytics platform, a data science platform, which your data scientist or our data scientist can use to give you results which can optimize your business. And then you have a place where you can visualize and communicate that information. So it's like complete end to end. That's our goal. That's what we are going for.
What kind of clients do you have? Anyone that we would have heard of?
Yeah, Whirlpool is one of the big clients. Then AM General is one of the big. Like I worked a lot with the Whirlpool account. Spelling Bee is hosted by this news company, Scripps. Yeah, Scripps hosts Spelling Bee, so they are one of our clients. A lot of banks, a lot of manufacturing companies are our client. A lot of healthcare companies like oncology practices are our clients. So, and the good thing about like working in a startup is like I got to work on all of that data. Like wherever the need was, I has to go there, work on those projects. So you get to learn so much about the industry by looking into the data.
Any interesting insights?
So we worked on a really big project with one of the appliance companies, and we were working with natural language processing related things. So a lot of data scientists are working on these cool technologies like deep learning models and beating Go and self-driving cars and all of that. I mean, those algorithms are really good as individually, but the trick about applying those in a business sense and making sure there are business outcomes which are measurable is a completely different ball game. Like the impact is, I mean, those algorithms are great. Like don't take it that no, they are not good enough. They are really good. They are very effective. But combining it and making sure that it's applicable to the business and making sure you're convincing the managers and everybody else in the company that it is going to work and they are going to fund that particular project, that is extremely challenging. And that's one of the things, that's why things don't grow as much in all the other fields as well. But that is extremely challenging, making them understand what data science is, why is it different from what is in place already, and how, like, making sure it's measurable. Like that's sounds very simple, right? Okay, yeah, okay, we'll do this project. Depending on this accuracy, we'll save this much money. But it's not. Like there's so many things affecting like our health. Like there's so many things which are affecting, right? So you might be working out very well, but at the same time you're like chugging beers every day. So like, is it working? Is it not working? And there are like 15 other factors. You're eating so many things. So it's always very difficult to pinpoint, okay, did it work because of data science or did it work because of some other tool they purchased? So that was a big challenge.
So let's take a step back and tell us what exactly a data scientist do. Like, what do they do?
Magic. Just kidding. So data science is about taking data from all these varied sources. So like you're pulling from cloud, you're pulling from someone's system, you're pulling public data. So get all of that data together, okay? And then combine that data, like clean that data, join that data. And the most important part is featureizing it, like building features out of it. So building features, like, you want to groom the data so that it's ready for whatever the problem is ahead. And like, I was thinking of this analogy where, for example, you groom yourself. If you're going for a date, you groom yourself differently as compared to if you're going for a business event, you groom yourself differently. So featureizing is that you take that data, you groom it differently depending on what the business outcome is, what the machine learning model you're going to apply on it. So that is the most important thing in data science, I feel. Like, obviously, you apply models and all of that, featureizing a data set, and then after that, on top of that, you'll apply all these machine learning, deep learning models to solve a particular business function. So it could be like just getting plain accuracy, or you're trying to optimize a particular revenue outcome, or you want to optimize the take rate, whatever that is. So taking that data, cleaning it, joining everything together into one big data set, featureizing it to bring the features, like really, enhance that data set, and then applying the right machine learning model. Like there's so many things you can do. Like you can get into the possibility where you can try things like for your whole life and things won't work out. So that's the trick of a data scientist, applying the right model on the right data set with the right metric in mind. And then the most important part is making sure you can communicate the findings to the client or anybody who the end customer is, right? That communication part is also very important. Like, you don't want a highly accurate model all the time. Like I have a lot of data scientists in my team, like extremely smart. They'll come up with the most accurate model, but the client wants to know that, okay, why is this person going to take this product with such a high confidence? Tell me that. And we cannot answer that. I'm like, so we would go with a different model. Like if you're going for a neural network, then you cannot answer that. You'll get extremely high accuracy, but you won't be able to answer that. But at the same time, if you're applying like random forest or XGBoost, you can do things to be able to, okay, these are the features contributing to it. So the communication part is also very important. So I think I said a lot of things. So I'll just, compile everything, like get the data from varied sources, clean it, join it together, featureize it, extremely important part. Make sure you know the right model which you need to apply, communicate that right findings to the client, and make sure you're not going for the highly accurate model. You need to go for the model which will give you the quick and maximum business outcome.
So I think, I mean, right now, in terms of education and kind of courses that students want to pick up, probably after digital marketing, I think data science is one of the most chosen careers right now, with a lot of current generation studying. So, what is your like takeaway on like, is engineering like a mandate to be very good at data science, or even like a commerce grad, or anybody can pick it up and then learn it more further?
So data science has three things. Like statistics is one part of it. Then all these machine learning models, knowing about those is another part. And the third part is computer science, like having the knowledge of basic computer science, coding, all of that. So you can go from commerce, you have good maths background. A lot of people do, like they code in R. A lot of people code in Python. So like usually people from mathematics background, they will go for R. They don't have a lot of coding background. So they can build a model, but if you want to put it in production, that becomes a challenge for them. So it's always better to go from engineering background. But in my team, I have people from applied maths. Like I have two people from applied maths, and I mean, they are extremely good at what they do. And they did learn the computer science skills very well. I would say that for being a successful data scientist, make sure you have a good knowledge of computer science. You don't have to be an engineer for that. You can get it from online courses if you want, but make sure you know about computer science, you know about statistics, and obviously you know about data and data engineering and machine learning overall.
And do you consider data visualization as part of data science?
I actually didn't do a lot of visualization. Like business analysts in our industry right now, business analysts do a lot of that. The goal of data science is so that you don't have to visualize. We don't want a person looking at data to find insights. We want our algorithm to find the insights and tell you exactly what to do. So that's why I did visualization, but not a lot. So I don't think it's like I would say it's like 5 on 10 in terms of importance.
Makes sense. And going back to Aunalytics, like I have used Alteryx, right? So Aunalytics has a similar interface where you can just drag and drop things on your data, and then you can get outcome from that.
Yes, it has similar. I mean, Alteryx is one of the competitors. Like I've studied Alteryx a lot to see what they are offering and what we offer. So it is very similar. Yeah, there is a drag and drop. You are combining everything together to build a workflow. They have some advantages. We have some advantages. Obviously, they have advantage. They're a publicly traded company with probably like multi-billion dollars valuation right now. I own some of the stocks of Alteryx because they're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, something like that. You're right.
Okay. Yeah, like so in PwC, last year they started this initiative where everyone had to learn Alteryx and Tableau. So that's how I picked up on Alteryx. They started offering certifications and things like that. Before that, I'd never heard about Alteryx. So I had no idea.
Right. They are one of the leading ones in the market right now. But the end-to-end thing which I was talking about, that doesn't fit in there. That's not what they're selling.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. Our CEO says that you have to throw a particular type of party, and then people who want to be in that party, they'll come. Like you select the music, you select the booze, whatever it is. Like if you're putting reggae music, then you'll get different kind of people. If you're putting rock, you get different kind of people. Because I always tell him, like, why are we not building this? He's like, Chirag, we are throwing a different kind of party. It's not exactly the same party. So it's all right. I'm like, okay, makes sense.
So what does your day-to-day look like? Like, are you more on the managing side? Are you talking to clients, or are you like working on the data and building stuff?
No, I talk with clients a lot, and that's I think one of my strong points. Like communicating those findings, making sure like we're not getting too technical in things. Like it's very easy. Like you come from a geeky background, it's very easy to get too technical, and you're extremely happy inside. Like okay, yeah, I know my shit and all of that, but the client doesn't understand any of that. So yes, I do talk to a lot. Client a lot, and I think I do a good job there.
So, any tips to do that, not get more technical and be more clear about the ideal goal? Do you have any tips of how to not get into too technical stuff?
Yeah, keeping it simple. That's the key. Like, keep it extremely simple, extremely businessy. Like, okay, start with, okay, use are saving $6 million this year. Like, start there. Okay, then get into, okay, what are the factors which they actually understand? So they understand their business way better than we do. Like, there is never going to be a case where we understand their business better. Like, if I'm talking to a VP of marketing, she knows what's going on, or he knows what's going on, right? So what I know best is, okay, I'm going to be able to get you these 100 customers and they'll buy your product with 80% accuracy. So I start there. Like, what is the business outcome? What are you getting? Then I get into the reason they're getting is because of these 6 things. Like, don't say I trained this neural network model for 12 hours on a GPU with the accuracy of 86%. They don't care about that. You tell them in terms of the language they understand. So always, like, every word you're picking, make sure, do they understand? Do they know this? Do they know AUC, ROC? Do they know this particular ratios or averages or models? No, they don't. So you pick their language and you communicate in that language, and then you get under the hood. Like, some people are interested. Like, you don't want to leave it out. You want them to, like, you want to impress them, but you want to throw it in there later. Like, once they are sold, you say, okay, yeah, we trained this on this GPU, and it runs for like 16 hours. It's crunching millions of rows and all of that. And they're like, oh, wow, that makes sense. If you go over that first and then you say, our model, it's not there yet. Maybe in next 6 months, we'll be able to, they're not going to give you the business. Right. And in US now, it's very difficult to read the client. Like, they're so nice. Everybody's nice there, right? Nobody's going to be like, "Arey yaar, kya bol raha hai? Samajh mein nahi aa raha hai." It's not apparent on their face also. Like, here, if you're talking to somebody, or maybe some other country, maybe Russia, like, they'll let you know that they don't understand any of it. But in US, you're never, like, you can give the shittiest present in your life, shittiest presentation in your life, and they'll still be like, yeah, thanks, good job, see ya. And then obviously they won't come back to you, but they'll be very nice there. So it's very hard to get a read on them.
Yeah, totally.
And if you actually get a read on them, then you did a bad job. She can actually see it.
So you mentioned that you work for the company in US part time. So what other things are you working on right now?
So I moved to India, Mumbai, 6 months ago, family emergency. So now I'm taking care of my brother's business. It's a coaching institute, Mayak Tutorials. So I'm working on that, running that. And at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm doing the data science stuff, keeping myself in loop with that. So I'm doing both of that. So one is the coaching institute. Glorified way of saying that is the education field. The other is the data science company I'm working for.
Wow. I think the experience of like working in India in a coaching institute, where you kind of have to deal with a lot of parents and a lot of uh, probably mix of educational trainers, and versus the data science job which you did. I think there's like a lot of difference between the two and the operational procedures for both. So like, how did you like kind of get into this and manage, try to manage the coaching institute as well, while bringing some of your skill sets from your previous, I mean your current work of data science?
It is difficult. Like, Hiloni, you put it very right. It's completely different type of interaction. Like, you're talking to parents, you're having a different conversation, you're managing people differently who are living up to different standards. There are a lot of good things, there are a lot of bad things. It's very hands-on, and it's very trust-based. Like, you have to get their trust, and you need to make sure that you're trusting them, and that comes with time. Like, so that was challenging. Like, talking to parents, they don't trust me. I don't trust everybody. I actually made mistakes of trusting people early on, which was a mistake. I should not do that here, and I'm not used to that. So that was a big problem. Like, if you are in Mumbai, you've stayed in Mumbai, it comes natural to you. You go to US for 6 years, things change. Like, you, by your default, is okay. Yeah, I'm gonna trust this guy. I'm gonna okay, whatever that person's saying, I'm gonna agree with it. That's not the case in Mumbai. Like, you cannot trust people easily. It comes with time. There's a lot of hard work you have to put into it. Same goes for yourself as well as the other party. So that's one thing. Communication is different. You're talking to them at different level, but it's not that challenging. Like it's very easy. Like you just have to be like very nice to them. You have to understand them. Be very empathetic to them. And one good thing I saw is like that. What do you call it? That feeling you get like of accomplishment that's there like every single day. You're talking to a parent, you're talking to that child, and you're motivating it, and that child scoring higher, or the child wants to do a particular thing because I motivated that child to. So they come back and they will tell you that thank you, sir, because of this happened, because of this I chose this particular career. So that is there. Like I still see so many people coming and telling me that because of my brother, like they are there because of that, and there are so many people like are associated with the company because of the work he did. So that instant gratification is there for sure, but at the same time, it's very challenging. Like you are interacting with a lot of people. Like I get so many phone calls now. I've never gotten that many phone calls in 6 years of my life in US. So I'm still getting used to the phone calls I'm getting. And the second thing is if you're a boss, it's actually very easy to just impose everything on people, which I'm not used to. Like I'm very nice, and staying in US, I got even nicer. So I'm saying please, and like, and obviously there are 2-3 people who are in the core group, and they'll tell me, sir, why are you even saying please? I'm like, please तो ठीक है ना, मतलब please तो बोलते हैं ना. Like नहीं sir, बोलो करना है मतलब करना है, खत्म. वैसा वो करेंगे वैसा. Like don't ask them, like just tell them. And I was never in that. Like we used to discuss, take decisions together, and it's different here. Like you just have to tell them, okay, I need this done, and you actually need to be that way. So all of that, like I'm getting a lot of it is I'm getting deja vu, and a lot of it is like I'm learning back again, like those skills you unlearn, and now I'm learning back. So it is never a dull day for sure, like never a dull moment, but still learning a lot, getting through it. There's a lot of anxiety every single day, but it's getting better every day.
Makes sense. And are you using your knowledge of data science in any way with your classes?
I should not, because it's gonna go over their head. So not yet. Like, yeah, there's such a thing as like, being too smart. So that's how I'll be perceived if I do any of that. But in a different setting, yes, like how eventually, like when I grow this particular brand even more, there's so much which can be done in the industry. So yes, eventually I'll be using a lot of data science knowledge, but not right now. It's not needed.
So Mandot, like what advice do you have for people who are just starting off their business in India? Any lessons that you've learned?
Give me advice. Starting out, right? I'll tell you what I've learned in the process. I don't think I've learned a lot, but I'll tell you what, like my brother did it. So I know what kind of person he was and the things he did to build something which is like huge in like just a small amount of time. It's doing it, like you just do it. You don't think about it. You don't just, okay, haan, karunga. And I'm that kind of person, honestly. Like I have like a note which you can scroll for like literally 2 minutes to read all my ideas. Like you can just keep scrolling, and I have all these ideas which I've been writing for like last 7 years, 8 years. And I was scrolling through those during the lockdown, and a lot of them really good idea, but I never did that. And that's the thing which is lacking. And you just have to have that thing. Like you just have to do it. Either you do it or you don't. Like either you are in it or you're not. That's it. There is no middle ground. You cannot have a middle ground. You have to take those decisions. You have to have that guts to do it. And if you are that kind of person, or if you think you can be that kind of person, then like you need that skill for sure, no matter what. There is nobody out there building a successful business who just, okay, kar lenge. They just do it. They don't talk about it. So, and the other thing is you have to enjoy it. Like you cannot, okay, sab kar rahe, tumhe ko bhi karna hai. It's a cool thing. No, it's very important that you enjoy what you're doing. Like for some people, it's just natural. Like that's the thing. They want to get up and just do those things, talk to people, all of that. And for some, it's not. So you have to make sure that what kind of person you are. And if you are that person, then just go for it. Things will work out for sure. that's always the case. Like things will work out. You'll never fail so bad that you cannot get back up. That's never going to happen. So you just have to do it.
Very well put. Yeah, like especially especially the part where you say you just do it. Like I tend to overthink a lot. So, and once you start doing something, you tend to realize the problems that you will face, and then you just go and solve them, and then you find something new completely, and then you pursue that. But if you just keep on thinking about it, you'll never find the problem or the new thing that you want to do.
Exactly. Doing it. I mean, even I have to apply to myself a lot. I'm not there. But yeah, doing it is the key, like taking those decisions really quickly. And the second thing is relationships, which I forgot completely, like that communication and the relationship building. That's I mean, obviously you have to start doing it and then that thing comes. But that's one of the single most important skill, like not your technical skill, not your how much money you have in the business. If you can maintain those relationships, if you can keep your ego aside and just make sure everybody's happy, you are making everyone happy, keeping your clients happy, and build that long-term relationship, then your business is gonna be successful no matter what. Like if you have strong relationship, there's nothing which can come between your business. Like especially like situation like this coronavirus, businesses which don't have a strong relationship are gonna fail for sure because they don't trust you. But if you have a strong relationship, they'll let you like, okay, yeah, 1 साल बाद दे देना या 6 महीने बाद दे देना पैसा, या फिर if you know थोड़ा service में थोड़ा problem होगा तो they'll understand, like they're like family to you. So that is very important too.
So what are your near future plans? Any side project that you're working on, you're excited about?
Like I said, I have that long list of ideas, right? There's not enough time and discipline. Discipline is the second. Right now, I'm just like trying to keep everything alive, juggling everything. I have a few ideas which I'm going to be working on, and hopefully they should help a lot of students, like in understanding the end goal. Like the problem with the current education system is like you don't see the end. Like you are in this bubble, you're doing all these things, but everything is in the bubble. Like the real world is out there, and you don't have a faintest idea what's out there. What you guys are doing is exactly that, right? Like you're trying to show them what the actual world is like so that you prepare yourself accordingly. And on similar lines, like I want to somehow have a place where you can actually get to know, once you know what your end goal is, like once you know, like you say, like once you're at the end of it, you can look back and things will make sense. Like you can go back one step at a time and reverse engineer and define your path. But if you don't know the end goal, then it's very difficult. So that's why the goal is to build something where you can actually show the end goal to all the students out there so that they can be better prepared for the real world. So, and it's still like it's still in the works. What the platform, it's going to be a platform where you can actually engage in such things, like Uber-like platform, but still working out the details. But it's going to be exciting. But overall, I want to put myself in education system because like I want to be in there. I want to grow the name, and that's why I will definitely apply a lot of my data science skills. I was also thinking of using data science to predict question papers. Fingers crossed, if that works out, I'm going to be a rich man. But I've asked people to tag the questions and all of that. So again, like not the right discipline. If I had the right discipline, I would have done it by now. But that's something which I want to do. Like, how can I use data science to improve education? So that's definitely going to be on the top of my mind. And overall, bringing data science to India, Mumbai, it's going to be another big thing in near future.
Wow.
Oh, that's amazing. How have your classes like been affected because of the pandemic?
People are not paying money, so that's one big problem. They won't like our customer base is middle class, lower middle class, so they don't have money to pay, or they have a good reason not to pay right now. So that is a big challenge. So that cash flow making sure that blood is running through the veins. That's extremely challenging. So I'm trying to cut costs wherever possible, combining lectures, asking employees to take pay cuts wherever possible, asking rent people to take pay cuts wherever possible. So that relationship thing comes handy here. Not it doesn't work everywhere, but wherever it's working, like I'm surviving every month. So taking month by month basis, in terms of education, we made sure that it's not getting affected at all. So our lectures are going fine. Students are getting education very well. If there's a network problem, we cannot do much about it. But other than we have set a good framework around Zoom. So it's working very well. Like we're taking online exams and everything. Like there's supervisors sitting, looking at all the student videos and all of that. So that is going very well. Students are learning overall good feedback. But like new admission, we are not getting that. So it is going to take a toll. I just don't know how big of a toll it's going to take. So exciting, right?
So how do you manage uncertainty? Like you said, you don't know what's going to happen. Do you have some framework or some process to manage those uncertain moments?
So only thing you can do right now is cost cutting. Like make sure you slim it so much that you survive 2 more months compared to like if I would spend at the same amount, I would be done by now. So I'm trying to do the cost cutting. That's one thing you can do, and make sure I'm providing the maximum service, like cover as much area as possible. So like if a student cannot pay, I have two things. I can either, I mean, that's the thing, right? The parent is like, I cannot pay. It's okay. You can say my kid to not sit in lectures starting tomorrow. And that's the thing which you don't want to do. So like I cannot be the tough guy and like, okay, no, kal se mat baithna waisa. So then I decided, okay, whatever happens, as long as I'm, surviving. And I mean, I know I'm pretty confident that I'll get through this, but still, kitna impact hoga overall year financials pe kitna impact hoga, negative hoga ya nahi hoga. Those are the things I'm uncertain about. I know that I'm going to survive. Like this year it's going to pass, next year it's going to be great, but make sure I'm leaving a good mark that during this time, Mayak Tutorials provided education to everybody, no matter what, whether they had cash or not, doesn't matter. Like we were there for them, and hopefully that's gonna get us customers in future.
Also, like, what is your take on the current generation? I mean, there is a very good mix of like people who are extremely focused and kind of know what they want, and then we have this TikTok generation, and I think a lot of people are sailing between the two. So, like, how is your interpretation of the current people who are taking up education, and like where do you see them go?
I see, yeah, you're right about this TikTok generation, and people want everything easy now. Like they've just gotten used to easy so much. Like ye difficult hoga, ye karunga to difficult hoga. People are like classes are shutting down. Science classes are shutting down because people are not taking science. Like big coaching institutes are shutting down. So like last year the results were difficult, so people didn't take science at all. And it's so much dependent on your score and the difficulty level. People are definitely getting softer nowadays, like students, and that's something which I want to change. Like I'm talking to these students, and like I was doing a session today, and I was talking to them. It's like difficult hoga. I'm like difficult hoga. Obviously difficult hoga. Like I'm not gonna say कि easy hoga, but you have to, like if you're interested in that, you have to do it. You have to put in the hard work. Because आगे जाके क्या होगा, you never know. Like people might be doing just menial jobs. Like if you don't learn now, if you don't put in the hard work, obviously you're not smart enough. You won't be skilled enough to do jobs which require high skills or hard work. Like the worst thing is not the skill is not the worst part. The worst part is not getting used to the hard working, that capability, right? If you don't have that, then you cannot learn that. Like as you grow older, that actually diminishes that skill. So I'm actually very concerned, and I hope that I can make some impact in this position, because like I have a lot of students which I can leave an impact on, right? But yeah, I talk to students, I see their faces, and they just want an easy way out, which is horrifying. But at the same time, you're right. Like there's still those people who are like, yes, I'm going to be focused, I'm going to study. But those are the people who's like, I have people like single mother, and she's trying everything to make sure the girl is going through education, like she's getting the education so that they can make a good living. Like I have parents like that also. And the other kind is also there, who is just like doing stuff, playing PUBG all day or Instagramming or TikToking. whatever. I actually, people I talk to, they don't use TikTok that much because every time I bring up TikTok in one of the sessions, they just laugh. It's like, no, sir, we don't do that. We are Instagram people. I'm like, okay, cool, cool, cool. But yeah,
Okay.
it's not a good sign. But I guess for every generation, they always. I mean, our parents had problem with us. We have problem with them. I have a reason to believe that. I mean, it's bad, but we'll see. Life is a roller coaster. Whatever, anything can happen, right?
There is like an intersection between education and TikTok, maybe like ultra short form snippets of some formulas or something like a way to use TikTok to educate generation because it is difficult to hold their attention for a long period of time.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Oh,
I think
by the
yeah.
way, that's happening. There is like this very famous math professor with like million subscribers who teaches math on TikTok,
Yeah.
and like some
Oh,
more others like this. Yeah. So I mean, there are
yeah.
these kinds also.
Yeah, one of my friends, he is what do you call? He's a professor. He teaches CS students or something. He has 5,000 followers. I follow him as well. He does live sessions on Instagram every night, and then he sends like memes out, and then every day he's posting 3 posts. One will be educational, one will be like educational memes, and then one will be some weird question in a fun way, and then every night he does live session. So like they are doing like they are
Yeah.
using technology in a way. Yeah, it's called the generation of instant gratification for a reason, right? Like we get food when like we can just order food
Right.
whenever we want. We can skip shows. We can watch whatever we want at whatever time. And now, like when we were watching TV, we had to wait, right? Okay, Friday को 10
Right.
बजे CID आएगा तो 10 बजे ही आएगा. You can't watch it before that.
Right.
But going back to your story, so like when you hear stories from parents and other students, like does it have a psychological impact? Like you personally feel that all your students have to perform at a level? Like does it impact you in any way?
Parents when they talk, so parent and students, they have a big communication gap, and that's one thing which we do and a lot of other people do, like bridging that communication. Like parents don't understand their children at all, especially, I mean, and you cannot expect them to understand. Like it's somehow there was a generation, like there is a big gap. Like all this, it would never make sense if TikTok doesn't make sense to us. Forget about it making sense to our parents, right? So all these parents, they're coming like ये खेल रहा है, ये PUBG खेलता है पूरा time, and it's instant gratification for those kids, right? So they know that they're happy there, so it's very obvious for them to do it. It's very unobvious for parents to understand that. Like if parents would understand ना कि हाँ ठीक है, it makes sense, this happens, and then somehow have get into that zone, get into that, resonate with them, and then make them understand, they cannot do that. Parents don't have that kind of patience. So a lot of people will come to me, is like, kya karu, ye to nikamma hai, whatever. So I'm like, and then I talk to the kid. It's like, I mean, theek hai, kar ye, but start with this also a little bit. Because I've seen both worlds. So I need to make sure that I'm communicating with them. So sometimes, most of the time it will work, teaching kids that way. But I mean, a lot of times it's like they're gone, like they're too far ahead. And I mean, we cannot do a lot. Like,
Newton said, "If I have seen the future, it is by standing on shoulders of the giants." We bring to you these giants in the life of our guests. Our next segment is Top 3, a curated list of top 3 recommendations from our guests.
The top three books that you would recommend, and if there is any specific book that you have gifted the most.
so the book which I've gifted or recommended a lot is Rich Dad Poor Dad. I really liked, like anybody who wants to go into business, it puts that thing very well. So I would definitely recommend that. I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs. I mean, not as a person, but as his work and what he did. I mean, I've seen all his documentaries and his movies. Like he's got what 4 or 5 movies built on his life. So I've seen all of them though. And then I read the book after actually, and there's still so much to learn from that book as well. So I would definitely recommend that Steve Jobs one. And this last one, my wife introduced this book to me, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I feel like that person wrote that book for me, and it's very individual. Somehow, it's very individual to everyone. Like the stories he's written in that, I mean, it's a quick read, but you have to come back to it again and again. Like you can read one chapter and you get a lot out of it. Like you don't have to read multiple chapters. You can just read one and it'll just tell you so much. So that I would definitely recommend. And it's a quick read. But you want to buy that book. You don't want to borrow it. You want to buy The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck for sure.
Cool. We'll move to the next question. Mandot, what are your favorite 3 top movies and TV shows?
I really like Game of Thrones, but Game of Thrones -1 because they they extract
Skip
the
the
soul
last
out of the whole. Please, no, I mean even if you skip the last episode, I would still watch it again. But I mean, I was such a big fan, and I mean they did a really good job of screwing it up. But I mean, I want to give them credit. Like they did good jobs. Sometimes it just doesn't work, but hard luck for that. So Game of Thrones, I highly recommend that. Then Breaking Bad, man, that show is another big one. The director, I mean, Atif, have you seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah, we just Komal hadn't watched it, so we were currently watching it. We just finished it last night. Yeah.
I was thinking of it. I'm like, you are the kind of person who would enjoy like the way he's shooting, the way he starts. Like, I mean, I just want to compile first 15 seconds of Breaking Bad in a video. Like that would be viral for sure. Like that would go viral. If I can compile first 15 seconds of every Breaking Bad episode, there's so much creativity in that, the transitions and everything. I really love that. The first season is a little boring, but it catches up very well. And this Ye Meri Family, have you seen that? Any of you guys?
No.
Okay. So this show is largely based on like a Rajasthan family, like Rajasthan school days. So I'm not sure if you guys will relate that much, but I would highly recommend it. It should only take a small amount of time, but it's really good. Like I could relate to it a lot, and it's fun, like lightweight. I really like that one as well.
Oh, it's on TVF. I just saw. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll add it to my list.
It's on Netflix also, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So next question is: do you listen to podcasts?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like podcasts way better than reading because you can do it anytime, right?
Awesome. So do you have any 3 recommendations for podcasts?
Yeah, the first one would be What the Hat. It's a new one. It's really good. You should go for that one.
Thanks.
So I don't subscribe to a lot of podcasts. I have like 5, 6 on my list. So a friend recommended me the Learning Leaders show. Like he saw that, okay, I really like leadership. He's like, you should subscribe to that. So the Learning Leaders show is really good. Listen to that. Masters of Scale by Reid Hoffman. That's another good one, especially like he's talking about all these stories of different startups and not just startups, all the big companies. And recently started listening to Joe Rogan show as well. Some of them I really, it takes a lot of time off your day, but like if you're doing something, you can just, listen to it in the background. So he's just got a different perspective altogether. And I wanted to see what that perspective is. And some I can relate to, some I don't. But still, it's a good one for people to actually listen to.
Okay. So Mandot, what are your top 3 investments that you've made, monetary or non-monetary? Any?
Joining Aunalytics is obviously one investment. I think it was a good decision, both monetarily as well. Otherwise, it's one of the best company with amazing culture. I've not worked at other places, but everything I know about culture is because of Aunalytics, and obviously I helped build it as well. So really proud of that, and monetarily as well, like being part of the startup. So that's one good decision. I hope I took that good decision. I still don't know yet. That's one. I invest in stock here and there, long term mostly, but nothing really big. Yeah, and overall, obviously, your education, like going to the US and all of that, that was one good decision I took for myself.
Unlike the name, we are dwelling deep into our guest's thought process. Rapid Fire is our next segment where our guests will answer some quirky, some weird, but mostly fun questions.
Okay. So, if you could invite three people for dinner and have a chat with them, they could be living or dead. Who would they be and why?
I would invite Steve Jobs. I would invite Elon Musk, and then third would be I would invite Yash. Actually, he would be fun.
Yash Mehta.
Yeah, Yash Mehta. It would be fun to have, like, especially with those guys in the room. I would actually also invite my roommate, Pramod. So the roommate I was talking about earlier from Stony Brook, who asks a lot of questions and has got different perspective, like Sheldon. Yeah, I would invite Pramod as well. Like, he's gonna be fun. Yeah, to talk to.
Okay. Next question. If you could wake up with one new quality or ability, what would it be?
That I know. Like, I just want myself to be just doing it. I think I have the skills. It's just about having the discipline and just working at my full potential. If I can do that to myself, I mean, I think it will be really good for me and others as well. Just working at my full potential, not being lazy, not being like, be disciplined, and just chugging every single day. And I know that would give me happiness as well. It's just not able to do it as of yet at my full potential.
The next question, can you name one technology that you're excited about and that you think will forever change our future?
This Neuralink thing, Elon Musk, which it's working on, I mean, that is going to be amazing. I mean, I cannot wait for that. It's going to take a while, but overall, just, communicating directly and just somebody's understanding you completely, that device, optimizing yourself, that is going to be, I'm really excited for that. I'm reading encyclopedia now, right? Because I wanted to learn about this Roman Empire and how was that. And I mean, I'm very curious, like how things work in that era. Like, I mean, every day, what was the thing? And I cannot imagine, like, in last 25, 30 years, so much has happened. I've seen so much. What will happen in next 50 years? My God, it's crazy. Things will change so much. So I'm really excited what the future holds.
Yeah, you think like we'll progress at the same rate that we did in the past 20, 30 years?
Yeah, I think so. There will be some setbacks, like slap in the face, just what we're seeing right now. But I think we'll pick up from where we started, or we'll wipe out. Then there won't be any problem anywhere, right?
And you said you're reading about Roman Empire. Why? Are you just curious?
Just curious, like how. I mean, I'm very suspicious. Okay, did everything happen or no? So that's why I was reading.
Why happen or no? What does that mean?
Like, I mean, Mahabharata and Ramayana, and I mean, people like nowadays something happened across the street and you'll hear a different perspective. So think about something which is like thousands of years old, what could have happened and what people wrote and how it has evolved. So I just wanted to see like what was out there, out of curiosity.
I think this is something even I question a lot. Like, did that really happen? Did it happen that way? Because nowadays there are so many perspectives from which these insights are coming. Like, be it from for Ramayana, be it from Sita's, or be it from Valmiki's, and then like very different point of views where the same person is evil and good from a different perspective. So it's curious whether it actually happened that way or it is just put out to us in a different manner.
Right, exactly. I mean, I know that Mahabharata didn't happen the way it says it did. Because, I mean, when I'm reading about history, there are few fundamental, like, these are the 6 things which you go by, what are like, people cannot fly by themselves, just flying. Or, I mean, they cannot, all these different things, right, which has happened in these stories. But, I mean, it's one hell of a Game of Thrones, which happened back in the day, right? Mahabharata.
So, Mandot, I have been on a similar path as you have been researching a lot about Greek philosophy, Roman Empire, then Ramayana, Mahabharata. So, for Ramayana, Mahabharata, I have 2 theories, and like I read about it online as well. One being Valmiki, Vedyas, they were brilliant writers, right? So, they made the whole story to impart their lessons, and they made it in a way like which says the whole story and explains what they have to teach their students. So that was one theory. And the second one being, the Chinese whisper game, right? Like where something happened and then as it moves towards like through generations, it gets exaggerated or some things change and all that. So like Rama and Mahabharata, like approximately happened around 5,000 BC, and then they were written 300, 400 years after that. Or wait, I'm getting, so like in that time might be that things got exaggerated. So those cities and Ram Setu and things like that, those exist. But then it is very exaggerated form, the story that we hear these days. So those were the two theories I came across.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of archaeology and scriptures related to these. Like, I mean, when I'm reading about Roman Empire, I mean, the Greek Empire, the pyramids and all of that. I mean, they have bodies. They have buried along with them. So that's why I'm exploring, like, maybe something like that exists for Mahabharata and Ramayana. I just need to know.
Yeah.
And like, your first theory sounds like Valmiki is J.K. Rowling of current times.
And it can be, right?
Exactly.
And the way people argue is... and the way people argue, even I get this argument that, hey, Ram Setu exists. But Ram Setu exists does not mean that Ram existed, right? Chetan Bhagat writes stories in Varanasi. So Varanasi as a city exists, but his characters don't exist. Those are fiction. So, it sounds valid, I feel.
If you had a superpower that you will never have to restock one thing from your fridge ever again, what would that thing be? Like, you can have unlimited supply of it. And I think in quarantine, you'll definitely have one answer to it.
Well, if it was in US, I would say beer. But here, I would say, what do I want from the fridge? Maybe cold pizza. That would be fun. Fresh cold pizza, always present.
So cold pizza is like, it's hot pizza with cold cheese on it, right? I've seen those videos. It's that, right?
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, you buy a pizza when it's either overnight and you just like eat it the other day or after some time. I actually like it. If it's in the fridge, I just eat it directly.
Yeah, I like it cold and hot for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I saw this video on YouTube. So there is something called cold pizza, which is like they heat up the pizza in the oven and then once they remove it, they put cold cheese on it, like a lot of cold cheese. And then you eat it. So the whole, like, the way it was invented was people got drunk and they, like, it was some college town and people got drunk and they were burning the roof of their mouth. So in order to avoid that, because of the cold cheese on top of it, they did not burn their mouth.
Nice. See the kind of problem our generation is solving. The top of the mouth.
Cool. Last question and rapid fire. Your favorite purchase that you have made under $100 or 5,000 rupees?
The espresso machine I have. That's. I had one more thing which I don't have right now. Otherwise, I would say that. So you've seen those handles which you can put on your bed and you can put an iPad on it, and you're basically sleeping and you can hang your iPad on top of you. Have you seen any of that? Like, it's the, I don't know what you called it. So you can just plug it on the edge of your bed anywhere. And then your iPad is like, you're basically sleeping and your iPad is right there in front of your face. I wanted in a big apartment, a projected version kind of that. But obviously that's not happening. So I bought that. So you can just watch it and go to sleep. You don't have to worry about iPad falling and all of that. So I really like that. I cannot put it here in Mumbai right now. So yeah, I don't use that. The other thing was the espresso machine, which I'm using. I always wanted to buy one. Then Ruchi recommended me this one, and it's nice. Like, I think it's $2,500, which is like surprisingly good for that amount of money.
Our next segment is called Not the Onion, presenting 4 news articles that are mind-blowingly ridiculous that they could have been written by The Onion, a satirical news company. However, one is a fake article created by us. You have to guess which one is not The Onion.
Okay, Article 1. Brazil government aid says COVID-19 toll on elderly will reduce pension deficit as country's outbreak escalates. When coronavirus pandemic began, Brazil's health minister had been swift to advise that cruises be cancelled, large gatherings prohibited, and people returning from overseas go into isolation. But since then, Brazil president has fired 2 health ministers. It's good that deaths are concentrated among the old. That will improve our economic performance as it will reduce our pension deficit, said the government official. Second article. People are accidentally throwing out their stimulus payments because they look like junk mail. Some Americans may be unwittingly throwing their long-awaited stimulus payments in the trash. That's because starting last week, the Treasury Department and the IRS started sending out economic impact payments in regular white envelopes that could be confused for junk mail. While some people have already received their payments as direct deposits or paper checks in the mail, almost 4 million people, including those for whom the agency does not have bank accounts on file, will be getting the stimulus payments in the form of prepaid debit cards. The only problem is that the debit card comes in envelopes that say Money Network cardholder services and do not bear any federal markings. The third one, mainland China restaurant in Mumbai faces protests. A chain of restaurants in Mumbai by the name of Mainland China faced online backlash over the past couple of weeks after the coronavirus outbreak in India. Anjan Chatterjee, the owner of Mainland China, said, "I've been receiving threats from people asking to shut down the restaurant. Some have requested to change the name and remove China from it. I've also received online petition from people to rename some of the Chinese dishes on the menu to be more Indian." Mainland China has been operational in Mumbai since 1995 and currently taking takeaway on online orders due to the restriction. And fourth news article, train carrying migrants from Maharashtra to UP ends up in Odisha. Railways claim planned diversion. Hundreds of migrant laborers stuck without work and wages in Mumbai would have felt relief as they finally managed to board a train to return to their rural homes in Uttar Pradesh. But they woke up the next morning ready to go home and put their ordeal behind them. They found themselves not in their intended destination of Gorakhpur in UP, but nearly 750 kilometers away in Orissa. Angry and confused, when they asked why this had happened, they said they were informed by officials present there that the train driver had lost his way because of some mix-up. So those were the 4 news articles. First being Brazil government and economic welfare. Second being people throwing stimulus payments. Third, mainland China. And fourth, train carrying migrants being diverted. So Mandot, which one do you think is the fake one?
I'm confused between first and fourth one, and I'll go with fourth one.
Fourth. Okay. So train carrying migrants. Okay. Hiloni.
Yeah.
Even I think I would go with the fourth one.
Okay.
How do you lose your way in a train? Anyway.
And then Atit?
Yeah, fourth one.
Fourth one. Okay. All 3 of you are wrong. The mainland China was a fake one. The train actually happened. They ended up in Orissa instead of UP.
Oh my God.
And then there was a backlash from Congress and they were like, what are you, like, how did this happen? And then the minister for BJP was like, this was planned, we were going to divert it anyway. And then the passengers were like, why did no one tell us? So that was very weird. Mainland China made it up. Yeah.
I have
And
a
Brazil
question
also.
for you, Tapan.
Yeah,
How are you sure the mainland China didn't happen? What if
because
it
I
did?
googled it and I made it up from scratch. And
I'm saying that because
I
I
found
would
it
not be
very
surprised if that
believable
happened.
right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised.
No. I actually, when I got the idea to make this one up, I actually started Googling that if there were protests, but there was no, I couldn't find any news article about it.
Got it. Okay, yeah. No, I was just kidding.
Well, it has. It hasn't
It
happened
has?
yet. Yeah, it might.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe after everything opens up, it might happen sometime. I don't know. But I read an article. So the inspiration behind mainland article was I read an article. So on Instagram there is this page called Deccan Chronicles, which it's like a parody account of Deccan Chronicles, and like on that there was this article that they made up, which was UP Prime Minister Adi Yoginath. He wants to rename triple Szechuan rice to Deen Dayal something rice. So like from that I was like, okay, let's rename mainland China or something like that. So that's how I made it up.
Oh man, yeah.
This was like a very fun conversation. Thank you so much, Chirag, for joining us on this show. The insights from your activities in college to choosing data science and the kind of work that you do in that field, and then moving to education sector and the overall inspiring stories that you have shared with us. I think they were fabulous, and it was so much fun interacting with you. Thank you, and it was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. What you're doing is amazing, and I wish you all the success. I want this to become something really big.
So that's about it, folks. We will be back next week with another guest and another story. We would love to hear your thoughts about the episode. Feel free to reach out to us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. You can just search What the Hat Podcast. Also, subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast from, so you never miss out on the next episode. This is Hiloni, Atit, and Tapan signing off, and this was What the Hat.